This video is for educational purposes only.
Like the first time I did it, I couldn't really believe I did it. They've tried to portray me like I was some kind of a creature, right? I was just like everybody else out there. Probably 99.9% of the time, I'm as normal as he is, or anybody else is. But there's that 1% of the time, or whatever, that there's some kind of a problem there.
He was a monster. He is still a monster until the day he takes his last breath.
At the very moment 17-year-old Lisa McVeigh pinned her death note, she was interrupted, but not by a plea for help or a newfound hope. She was thrust into the sadistic grasp of the notorious killer, Bobby Joe Long. Abducted and subjected to unthinkable abuse, Lisa's life hung by a thread. However, somewhere amid the horror, her abduction and near demise ignited a will to survive she never knew she had. What followed was a 26-hour ordeal that revealed Lisa's incredible strength and resilience. To escape, Lisa dared to befriend her captor, got into his mind and convinced him to release her. But what exactly did she say to this hardened criminal? And how was she even abducted in the first place? Before the 1984 abduction that would shock the world, Lisa, only 17, was no stranger to hardship. Her childhood was marked by instability, living on the streets and time spent with child services. Growing up in foster care from ages 2 to 7, Lisa's life was anything but easy. She returned to her biological mother, a troubled woman, but found herself living between homeless camps, in cars, and in abandoned buildings with leaking roofs. At 14, she moved in with her grandmother in the Tampa Bay area, hoping for a better life. Tragically, her life took a nightmarish turn. One day, when she was just 14, her grandmother came to her and told her that her boyfriend was interested in her and would teach her how to please a man. For 3 agonizing years, she endured ongoing abuse from him, and her grandmother was fully aware of everything. Apparently, he had sworn her to secrecy, threatening to harm her identical twin sister if she ever told anyone about the abuse. He would often call her his girlfriend and hold a gun to her head during the attacks, threatening to pull the trigger if she made a sound. Scared of the repercussions, Lisa did everything he said. However, things got even worse when she turned 17, and he started speaking about having a child with her. At that exact moment, Lisa reached a breaking point and was ready to end it all. Hours before her abduction by serial killer Bobby Joe Long, she wrote a chilling life-ending note which she would follow through with at the end of the day. Content with the impending fate she'd resigned herself to, Lisa McVeigh finished her double shift at the donut shop and began riding her bike home. At around 2 a.m. that fateful morning on November 3, 1984, as she rode her bike past a church, a strange car caught her eye. Sadly, she would never make it home. Without warning, someone grabbed her off her bike from behind, and at that moment, she went into a panic, screaming and flailing her arms in hope of attracting others. But before she knew it, a blindfold was forced over her eyes, and she was thrown into the back of a car. Despite her fear, she cried out for her life, pleading with her attacker. "Whatever you do, don't kill me. You can do whatever you want, but don't kill me." Her captor, later identified as the notorious serial killer Bobby Joe Long, responded with the cold barrel of his gun to her temple, snarling through gritted teeth, "Shut up or I'll blow your brains out." Yet amid the chaos, something remarkable happened with Lisa. "Something in the pit of my stomach said you've got to stay calm, and you'll survive this," she later recalled. In a profound epiphany, she realized she could not allow another person to control her destiny. Bobby Joe Long dragged her into his red Dodge Magnum, tying, gagging, and blindfolding her. But Lisa's mind remained sharp. She found the strength to clench her jaw, creating a small space in her blindfold. Through this tiny peephole, she observed her surroundings, noticing the red carpet and white seats of Long's car, even reading the word Magnum on the dashboard. Her determination to stay calm and focused was unbreakable. As she later said, "Now I'm in a position where I felt like I was forced to fight for my life. It's like God was saying, 'Not on my watch. You're not going to end your life. This is what we're going to go through together.'" The nightmarish experience had just begun, but Lisa's resilience was about to be tested even further. Long drove her back to his apartment, subjecting her to abuse, her blindfold never removed. Yet even in these horrendous moments, Lisa's mind remained focused on survival. She cleverly sought ways to gather information about Long, memorizing physical details about his appearance when he put her hand on his face. His small mustache and snub nose would later prove crucial in identifying him. Despite enduring unimaginable physical, emotional, and personal trauma for what seemed like endless hours, Lisa's presence of mind never wavered. When given the chance to use the bathroom, she left her fingerprints on everything she could touch, hoping that police might someday connect her to Long. The news of her disappearance reached Long's television, triggering a new wave of panic in Lisa. In her panic, Long threatened her, saying, "If you scream one more time, I'll be forced to put a bullet in your head. Stop crying." But even in that terrifying moment, she noticed something in Long's words. His threat that he would be quote-unquote forced to kill her suggested a reluctance, a hint that she seized upon. With incredible psychological insight, Lisa began to ask Long questions, trying to bond with him. She told him a fabricated name and age, Carol, and even offered to become his secret girlfriend, reassuring him that she would never betray their meeting. When Long informed McVeigh that he had done this to other women, she asked why he would do the same to her. He replied that he wanted to get back at women in general, following some bad breakups. She concocted a story about being her ailing father's caregiver, painting herself as compassionate and human, rather than an object for abuse. Through it all, Lisa's ability to get inside his head was remarkable. As she would explain later, she aimed to show Long that she was a real person, compassionate and human, despite the awful circumstances. "I had to do whatever it took to get his attention to show him what he was doing, that he was messing with the wrong person," McVeigh explained. "I told him if he decided to kill me that it wouldn't be good because I have a father who wasn't well, and he has nobody to take care of him. I told him if he killed me, then my dad would definitely die of a broken heart. I don't know why I said it, but I remember feeling at some time in his life he may have been abused himself, which I later learned that he was," McVeigh explained. "It was almost like I was setting up a profile of a suspect." After agonizing hours, Lisa's strength and intelligence led to an unexpected opportunity for escape, but her ordeal was far from over. Long decided to release her, seemingly convinced by her clever fabrications and emotional appeals. Yet even as he drove away, leaving her blinded by a blindfold, she feared that he might change his mind and return. Finally, she removed the blindfold, and the first thing she saw was a beautiful oak tree. It was a symbol of hope, promising a new life. But she knew she had to act quickly. Terrified, she ran to her grandmother's home, arriving around 4:30 a.m. Her nightmare, however, was not yet over. Her grandmother's boyfriend interrogated and beat her up for hours, demanding to know where she had been. But Lisa's resilience never wavered. She begged them to call the police, but her grandmother refused. However, the next morning she called them, although she believed Lisa was making up the story. At the police station, Lisa's initial account was met with skepticism by a female detective. Frustrated and desperate for someone to believe her, she demanded to speak with someone more intelligent. Sergeant Larry Pinkerton, the official in charge of sensitive crimes at the department, was brought in. Pinkerton believed her and immediately called the FBI. A few days later, Lisa heard a news report about another young woman's body being found in the Tampa Bay area. She instantly knew that her kidnapper was the culprit and contacted Pinkerton, who put her in touch with deputies investigating the murders. Despite obstacles, including her grandmother's boyfriend's refusal to allow her to be hypnotized to recall further details, Lisa's bravery never wavered. Pinkerton discovered the abuse occurring at her home, leading to the arrest of her grandmother's boyfriend, and arranged for her to live in a center for runaway teens. The investigation intensified, and Lisa was shown photos of potential suspects. Her vivid recollection of the physical features she had felt during her abduction enabled her to identify Bobby Joe Long. The police retraced the drive and found the ATM Long had used. By cross-referencing registered Dodge Magnums in Florida with the names found in the ATM, they discovered Robert Joseph Long. 12 days after abducting Lisa, Long was arrested. Tragically, 2 more victims were killed during that time. Key evidence that linked Long to the crimes included red carpet fibers from his Magnum car found on victims' bodies and Lisa's clothing. This hard evidence proved that Lisa had been telling the truth from the beginning. Following his arrest, Long confessed to a horrifying spree of murders and abuses. He was eventually tried and convicted, receiving 26 life sentences and a death sentence. Lisa's courageous actions and unbreakable determination not only led her to escape, but were crucial in stopping a serial killer. In the face of unimaginable terror, Lisa McVeigh transformed herself from a victim into a survivor, and then into a hero. Her story serves as a reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope, courage, and intelligence can triumph over evil.